Thank you, guys. Thank you again for joining this lovely afternoon. This is our second session on database security platform, and with us we have Virupaksha and Tapasda, who are one of the specialists in the industry. We have very few specialists in the industry who specialize in database security, primarily Audit Vault and stuff. Taking this discussion forward, I'd like to just give a brief outline about what this is. Technology Talk, or Tech Talk, what we call, is a monthly occurrence to us. We try and bring in SMEs on relevant and important topics. We discuss real-time experiences, what is there in the market, what we have learned from, and we try and share as much as we can. We will request our attendees to key in their inputs, questions to us, whatever they feel want to know. If we have time enough, we will be able to discuss this. If not, we'll have a personal one-to-one session to discuss in detail. Thank you again, Biruda and Tapasda, for sharing your time. I'll not waste much time, and I'll request Tapasda to begin his presentation. And by the way, thanks a lot for taking time out and making a detailed presentation. Before I begin, I'll just summarize what we had in the previous technology talk. In the previous technology talk, we tried to understand database security, why it is important, how the spectrum of databases from Excel sheet to Oracle database is prevalent in every institution in one or other form, and why it is important for all of us to have a security platform in place so that we are able to prevent any type of threat or leakage from insider as well as outsider. On that note, Tapasda, please take us through the presentation, and we'll hop in with question as and when it comes up. Over to you, Tapasda, please.
Yeah. So thank you, Umeshda, for organizing these sessions where we also like to participate, and we like to share our thoughts and our experience with our audience, where we discuss the technology related things. And in this particular session, we are talking about the Oracle Audit Vault. It's a product from the Oracle that gives provide us to keep all our records, or the transaction record, to keep their audit in a separate location. So keeping in view that we have already discussed in our last session, and we are just taking it to a next level. We are just in this session we will give a little bit idea about how this Oracle Audit Vault works, and what are the features, how it works, in how many platform it works, from how many type of databases, how many type of OSs it captures the audited records, and how it reflects the data inside the Oracle Audit Vault. We will present these things in this discussion. So let us begin with, and we will start our presentation. So let us come to the next slide. In this slide, is my screen is visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay. So let us start with that. This Oracle Audit Vault, it's not only supports the Oracle related databases, Oracle related operating system to capture the audited data. It supports multiple databases, multiple operating system. Let us see. This is the Oracle Audit Vault server, and this Audit Vault server, from how many type of databases it can collect the audited records. This is the, say, suppose database. Now it captures the audited records from the Oracle databases. Now, not only to the Oracle databases, but it also captures the records from the SQL Server, Windows SQL Server databases. In fact, IBM DB2 databases also, it can capture the audited records. And not only these three databases, it can capture the data records from the MySQL databases, Postgres databases, and there are, in the list there are so many databases out there. Now, not only to the database, it can capture the records, audited records, from the operating system as well. And not only from the single operating system, it can capture the audited records from the heterogeneous platform like Oracle Enterprise Linux. Second, Windows, from Windows system, from Solaris system, and from the IBM AIX server also. So these are the audited data that can capture, and we can preserve all these audit trails in the Oracle Audit Vault servers. Now I would ask Biruda and Umeshda to have a look into it and express their views in this.
Yes. Thank you, Tapasya. So it looks a very basic question comes to me when I see this. You said databases and you said operating system. Now, why I understand databases will have multiple, kind of data from multiple sources, types, and etc. And it's important to have an audit on it. Why one needs to have an audit record of operating system?
Yes. So Biruda, or
so far what Tapas has explained is the sources from which audit data can be collected. This is what he has explained. So audit data can be collected from heterogeneous databases and it could be collected from the operating systems. Correct. Now, when we speak about audit, an advertent or inadvertent malactivity could happen at any layer. It could happen on a database layer, it could happen on an operating system layer, it could happen on a network layer. For example, it could well be the case that some very important file in a particular directory was intentionally deleted, which ideally should have been captured. So nobody was supposed to delete that file, but that was deleted. So those are a few things that we should ideally capture from an operating system's perspective. Configuration file of operating system, security related files that reside on an operating system. Ideally, these files should remain untouched for the entire life cycle of a server. Correct. But if they are being tampered with, they should be caught. That is number one. Number two, there could be parameters related to database which are changed at the hindsight. I mean, see, one thing is transactions that are getting audited. If there are really any business data that is being tampered with. The other is business data is fine, but the configuration itself is tampered with.
Okay.
You can actually tamper with the configuration in such a way that the audit is not collected. That should also get caught. So that is the reason why we look at a very comprehensive source of audit data collection. It should not only be the transactions happening at the database, but also things happening at the operating system, network, and other file layers. So that is in a very wide nutshell. I mean, Tapas can elaborate a little more on this, but on a nutshell, this is the thing.
Yeah. So now, taking what Biruda is saying, not only this, if some user, or I can say the root user of a server, he can change the permission of a file. If the permission of a file got changed, so how it will be tracked, right? Whoever is logging to the server, we are auditing the data, we are auditing the user login to the application server. But what about the OS user login? OS users login logout. Again, the OS user, whenever they are logging in, if they are doing some malicious activities like changing the permission without any change request and all, so that should be audited.
Okay.
So these all audit data will be captured and it will preserved under the audit vault.
So if I say that, okay, not only the data, but the policies and the governance matrix and the accessibilities, authentications, those configurations are equally important to be monitored and audited.
Yes,
exactly.
That is correct. So one part is the transaction, the other part is the underlying infrastructure and the immutability or sanity of the infrastructure getting preserved from a perspective. I mean, we should not imagine that if I have, say, for example, root privilege, that one goes and tries to make change anything system wide. And in fact, I mean, most of the attacks happen from those layers, right? I mean, the basic layers are those. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So, okay, so I can see on this slide there are two buckets through which it is implemented: agent-based and agentless. Right? Maybe you can throw some light on that as well.
Yeah. So what is an agent-based and agentless setup? In case of agent-based setup, an agent will be present in the database server, and that agent will communicate to the Oracle Audit Vault server to make a communication and to send the data. And say suppose in case of Oracle database, I'm taking the example of the Oracle database. Oracle database can directly communicate to the Oracle Audit Vault server. So in that case, the audited data will be captured from the Oracle database without using the Oracle agent. It will directly make a connection between the Oracle database and the Audit Vault server, and Audit Vault server will capture the audited records directly from the Oracle database. It doesn't require any agent to be installed. So this is the difference between the agent-based and agent-less setup. In case of agent-based, agent will capture the data, it will transform the data in such a way that it will be preserved inside the Oracle Audit Vault server. And in case of agent-less setup, Oracle Audit Vault will directly fetch the data from the respective resources.
So in which cases would you use agent-based and which cases you would say agentless? Is there any use case scenario or why somebody should choose without agent or with agent?
So say suppose if it is a OS, I'm talking about the OS logs, okay, and I'm taking the logs of the event data of a Windows server, right? So in that case, the audit data first it will capture the event data. OS itself will keep the event data in a separate format. Now in that case, this agent-based setup will look after these event data, and it will transform this in the form that it should get inside the Oracle Audit Vault server. Now, same thing if I'm doing for the Oracle database. Both are the Oracle setup, so it will get directly captured from the database, but it can't to the other one. That's why.
Okay, so heterogeneous environment when the databases are not Oracle, we can choose agentless.
Yes,
I have understood correctly. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Taposa. We can go to the next.
So now, let us move to the next slide. In our next slide, I will show you the data traverse from the target to the Audit Vault server. How the data get moved from the databases to the Oracle Audit Vault server. So suppose this is my Oracle Audit Vault server, and this is my target database. Now, somebody has inserted one record in the database. In the left side, we can see that one record has been inserted in the database, and it has been sent to the Oracle Audit Vault server, and the record has been captured, or the change has been captured, and its trail has been captured in the Audit Vault server. Now, whenever the next record has been updated, second record, and that record, what it is doing now, it is updating the value of C1. Earlier, at the first stage, it was C1 was 10, and now somebody has updated the same record with the value of 50. So now what it will happen in the database side? In the database side, we will see that updated record. But what about its history? What about its history? Who has made the changes? What was the earlier value? What was the pre-value? What was the post value? So that value, it will reside in the Audit Vault server. See here. Now when that is updated in the database server here, we can see that the record is being updated, and if somebody inquire the data from the database server, it will get the record with 50. But we will, if we see from the audit vault data, we will see both the records. What was the earlier record before the updating the record, and after the updating the record, both value we can see. We can see the history of the audit trails. Now let us see one more update. Somebody has did the delete of the transaction, right? Somebody has deleted that record. So what will happen? It will again push the data in the Oracle database audit vault, but at the same time we can't see any data in the database server. So what about the audit trail? Audit trail will get all the captured audited data, all the changes in the audit vault server. So in this way we can have the history, we can have the audit trails for all the insert, update, deletes, whatever being done in the database system, that will be captured and visible through the audit vault server.
Logs will be there who has visited it. The repository stores. What does this mean? Scheduled or continuous collection? Okay, this I understand. Scheduled will be, you can schedule the collection of logs at a specific point in time, or you want to do it as and when it happens. So the communication between the target database and audit vault server is encrypted, so that would make it safe. Repository stores and index log. Repository is it kind of the repository of
audit trail,
audit trails and all?
Yeah.
Pardon me, I have a very basic and a foolish question, and maybe maybe you can tell me if it is addressed or how it is, or if it is a dumb question, just tell it's a dumb question. So the audit details of logs and repository is also stored in a server, and it has some kind of hardware. Right. Now, what if eventually that is hacked or that is deleted by, the insider? How do we ensure that the details or data in the audit vault server itself is safe?
Right. So I will take that question. So see, this audit vault server, whatever you see in the right hand side, what is marked as audit vault server. So fundamentally what this server is actually, if you see the anatomy of this is a bunch of services that are dedicated for agent based or agent less audit data collection. And it also contains a database that stores the audit data, correct? But the crux over here is that you do not get any entry to this audit vault server. Any entry, there are no entries, no command line entries, nothing. You cannot access the database of the audit vault server where the audit data is stored, correct?
Okay.
Now only two types of roles are possible over here who can get an entry to this. One is the super administrator role. Super administrator role is someone who actually configures this server, correct? The other is the super auditor role. Super auditor is someone who is privy to looking into these audit data through pre-built reports or transaction flow reports. That is number one. Number two, what happens if this audit vault server itself is destroyed? That's the question, right? I mean, somebody goes and decides to destroy the audit vault server. So destruction can be inadvertent or advertent. There could be an infrastructure failure of the audit vault server wherein we have the necessary provisions for creating a high availability solution that is possible.
Okay.
So your data and the entire audit vault server is protected, obviously. Now the important thing over here is to have this particular audit vault server ideally on a high availability setting. Now in high availability setting, typically what is done is that we create a separate server similar to this audit vault server, and we have a database synchronization. That database synchronization is not accessible to anybody. I mean, it's the audit vault services present, dedicated services present within the audit vault will take care of that. You will have to just configure those synchronization. and that gets synchronized to another server. So that is how they are protected. The overall, the overall the crux is that this is an immutable data store. No user, no operating system user, no database user can ever get access to the data of this particular server. It can only be accessed through the interfaces provided to an auditor. That's it.
Yes.
That was a pretty detailed and simplified explanation. Yeah. One thought just clicked my mind during your target database can be multi-cloud environment, autonomous database. Today now, Oracle is engaging with joining hands with Azure, with Google or AWS as well, and they want their databases to interlock with each other respectively. In that case, say I have certain database in AWS or say Azure and something on premise, and then and it's a very much obvious thing which is happening right now.
Yes.
So in that case, how do you address, how do you integrate, and what all do you look at?
See, so this can be implemented in the heterogeneous platform. As I said, not only heterogeneous platform means not only the operating system and the database. It can be implemented in the multi-cloud environment also. Say suppose my Oracle Audit Vault is an OCI platform. Now the database that is hosted in the, say suppose in the Azure or in the AWS. So there will be an communication established between the OCI and the AWS and the Azure, and from there we can take the audited record, and it can we can see the audited record in the Oracle Audit Vault. So it's there, and we can securely implement that.
Okay. That's great. Yeah, Taposa, we can move ahead.
Yeah. So let us now, in continuation to that, as Biruda said, that here the data is immutable. Nobody can make any changes. Nobody can make any alteration or deletion of the records. So let us elaborate that. Now, say suppose this is my Oracle Audit Vault that I have already shown in my earlier slide, that data has been transferred and it has been captured in the Oracle Audit Vault server. Now, whether any user or any say suppose if somebody got access to the server, whether they can delete the data, whether they can update the data. In case of user, no, nobody have the access. Nobody can insert, update or delete data or make any kind of changes in the Audit Vault server. Now, two type of users have access. One is the super admin, one is the super auditor, as Biruda mentioned. So whether super admin able to modify data? No. They can only view the data. They can only make configuration changes. What about configuration? I mean to say suppose a storage need to allocate in the server, right? In the Audit Vault server, it need to add some patches in the server. That activity can be performed by an admin. If a new agent is being introduced, that activity will be performed by the admin. That he can do, but he cannot make any changes in the audited record. Now, say suppose if an auditor is also having the access to the Audit Vault server. So now, whether auditor, whether he will be able to make any changes? No. He can only fetch the records, fetch the reports from the database, from the Audit Vault server, and no other access. No one can make any changes in any layer. In this way, we can say that Audit Vault server is an immutable database, immutable system, where once the data get inserted, nobody can make any changes.
This presentation we can easily understand. I'm sure deployment will not be as simple as it looks. So, okay, I just have a question on chat box which says that where have you implemented the solution, similar solutions? I would suggest, I will reply to that. We have implemented at multiple places, including banks, government institutions, enterprise customers as well. For this, if I'll share, I think you have my email address, sir. So I'll request if you can put in an email. I can share one-to-one what we have done, where we have done. Some places we can, some names we can disclose, some we can't, but nonetheless we'll be able to tell you the details of the projects where we have done. Thank you, Naranji. Okay.
This is how it is immutable. Now let us move to the next one. Please, yeah. So in the audit vault, all the audited data are maintained, are captured as per the government regulatory compliances. Now, what does this regulatory compliance say? Regulatory compliance says that audited record are to be present in a form that will be immutable, no one can change, and it will have a proper timeline to preserve those data. Say for an example, regulatory compliance says that we have to preserve the data for 1 year online and the rest 5 to 6 years in the offline, so that we can securely configure in the Oracle Audit Vault, where if an auditor require that I need the last 1 year's data of the audited record for the, say suppose I'm sitting in the month of March and I'm saying that I need the audited record of the, say suppose for the month of May, I need the audited record, or the changes has been done for more than, say suppose 10 lakh rupees or maybe 1 crore rupees. Show me the audited record of those transactions, so we can obviously dig it out from the audited database, and the reports will come and it will be shared to the auditor. That's why this altering and reporting of anomalous access or changes, that also can be easily happen through the audit vault. Who has logged into this application in that particular time, from which IP, from which user, that we can also dig it out. Again, integration with enterprise security solution, that we have already explained that it can be simply implemented on so many platforms, and with the enterprise security solutions. Enterprise security solutions means there are several products are there, including this Oracle Audit Vault, that will make our environment more secure. Right. So Biruta, you can explain a little bit more on this.
There are multiple security solutions at multiple layers, right? There are security solutions at the firewall, at the network. So this is at the database activity monitoring layer, correct? So when we say that integration with enterprise security solution, it is possible that we can create a single dashboard which can include the findings and the monitoring of the activities, also including the Oracle Audit Vault. So that's the overall sense. I mean, this would obviously become a custom solution, but the important point over here that I think we should be conversant with is that as our overall progress is towards more and more digitization, so our transactions are becoming digital transactions, right? Maybe before COVID also our transactions were not that digital. At this point in time, almost every transaction has a digital footprint to it, correct? That is why there was a norm that was brought by Government of India. The date was probably effective from 1st April 2023, where it mandated that all the financial transaction footprint should be stored in a way so that who changed, what got changed, what is the change trail, and once this trail is captured, ensure that it is not getting deleted. So these are 3 or 4 conditions that came out from the Government of India, which we call as the Ministry of Corporate Affairs guidelines. Correct. Now the question is how to implement that. One way to implement that is to actually do some kind of custom auditing, incorporate some kind of custom auditing within the application. So you write programs and then triggers or whatever that captures the data and audits it, the old school type. But it had two problems. Problem number one, even if you write a custom auditing, it is still not tamper proof. It is still not unimmutable.
Okay.
Because you can go ahead and change the data, right? And number two is that it also has a huge performance overhead. We know that auditing is not a very easy thing. I mean, it has a performance overhead. So in order to cater to this, the database activity monitoring tools came out in the market and they tried to get proliferated. So we know that there are contemporary products from other companies like IBM Guardium and the Imperva, and obviously there are a few products. There is a product from McAfee. But this Audit Vault and database firewall, I mean, Tapas is discussing the Audit Vault part. We will take up the database firewall maybe in the next sessions. Specialty of this is that this is a very cost-effective product, works absolutely brilliantly with Oracle databases, and it also works very nicely with a few non-Oracle databases also. And the feature set is very, very rich. And from a positioning and cost perspective, I would guess it would be much in a much favorable scenario. So that's the overall sense that comes from.
Yeah.
And in continuation to the Viruda, I will also add one more point here. Now, say suppose some auditing, custom auditing that Viruda has already explained, that custom level auditing are there, and if some application level auditing are there. Now, in that case, if some auditing is being done from the application layer, the audited data, where this audited data will reside, that audited data will also reside in the same database, not in a separate location. Now, what about so what about that if somebody make changes in the particular databases? So it is always necessary to keep the audited record apart from that particular instance where that audit trail is being generated. That should be kept in a separate location. So with this Audit Vault type of setup, we can preserve the data in a remote location from the respective target.
Correct. And I believe with digitization and things like Oracle Apex, low-code, no-code platform and all, it becomes much, not only important, it becomes difficult also to keep an audit trail of all the things. I mean,
So now I think, So this is the summary about our discussion that we did regarding that how we are doing the auditing, how we are maintaining that auditing from the different levels, and how we are maintaining the MCA compliance. So this is what we have discussed.
So this is primarily to keep an audit trail of the transactions or the changes or the engagements which are happening with multiple databases. It is not a firewall per se. It is just to keep the audit trail of transaction, which is now required by guidelines, not only from MCA. I think it is required from RBI as well, and BPDC Act also makes it extremely important to have an audit trail of transactions, right?
That is correct.
That is correct. Absolutely.
So off the hook, if currently, if you can highlight some of the organizations which are not having Audit Vault or any kind of auditing solution, what are the problems? Actual real life problems. Like there is one thing wherein police says ki you have to wear helmet, so har roz pehen ke niklo. That is fine. So if I don't wear an helmet, police catches me, or if I don't wear a seatbelt, police will catch me. Fine. That is fine. That is the. But what is the real threat to organizations, to institutions, where the audit, when there is no audit trail to go back and check what kind of challenges you have seen which has happened or you have heard, without naming the institutions, of course.
Right. That's a very pertinent question. See, at auditing will be present in some form of other in all organizations.
Okay. Okay.
Either it will be an application-led auditing, wherein the product that the company is using, the core product, that has provisions for doing some auditing.
Correct.
Or it could be a human-built auditing, like through triggers or through some programs or procedure function, whatever you say. Or it will be an auditing that is very organized and is being done by a specialized tool, like say an IBM Guardian or an Oracle Audit Vault or an Imperva. Correct. So all these three we see, all these three are there. I mean, we cannot fathom an organization today that does not have any auditing. That's not possible. There will be. Now, problem is what are the problems? If the companies are generally taking an approach, a custom and a duct tape approach towards auditing, what's the problem? The problem is, number one, comes mainly from the perspective of compliance. Correct. So because the regulatory compliance or regulatory environment of doing the business is becoming complex by the day. That is also a reality. Correct.
Correct.
So therefore, when something is getting more and more complex, it is only advisable to find something, some antidote that makes my life easy. And that is this tool. I mean, this tool, if you see, I mean, when we go and implement it in real life, there are quite a few challenges that we have to trade through. But on a very fundamental perspective, it is just, gobbling up or engulfing some data from a given target and keeping it secure. That's all what it is doing. Right? And the other huge value addition that it is doing is the huge amount of standard audit reports inbuilt that it is giving. So once you have gobbled the transaction, you have gobbled the network related data, all the things that could have been audited into the Audit Vault server, there are at least, I would say, more than 100 or 200 standard audit reports that are available out of the box. And these reports, I mean, I'm not saying that you cannot build a report in a custom way, but at what cost? At what effort? That's the question. So the key takeaway is, it makes your life easy. It makes your internal and external audit process seamless. Your response to the internal and external audit process seamless. And number three, everything that you save. See, auditing is a compliance thing. It is not a real business value add. Correct. So the more effort you save in compliance, the more effort you can actually give to the business in creating more value. So that's how it should be looked at.
Yes.
I also believe, Viruda, that the nature of transaction is extremely important to be kept track of. Now, yes, applications will have their own set of log management or application visibility processes and systems in place, and but it will be again we will be under the control of the admin to choose to keep it or not keep it. And the nature of transaction, when the company is public facing, and then it becomes important to have such kind of auditing information to have, not only for compliance perspective but long-term perspective. One, and I believe the number of transactions has humongously increased because of the digitalization per se.
Yes.
So
that is the technical aspect of this. I mean, if you do not use such kind of a specialized tool, I mean, the performance penalty is also huge. I mean, many organizations, say for example, if I know of there are companies whose ERP has now almost 50 terabytes of data, correct? And they generate near about 1 terabyte of audit data in 2 or 3 days. Right? you cannot really imagine your custom programs or custom audit modules actually handling those kinds of things. So you can do it, but the amount of infrastructure that you would require will be something that is not sustainable.
Time, energy as well.
Right.
Yes.
The Jugaad method is not going to work there. The famous Indian Jugaad methods will not work.
Yes, the जुगाड़ methods, yeah, I agree. I mean, see, देखो, आप तो फुटबॉल खेलते हो ना, तो अभी जब खेलने जाते थे, तो you could just put in a जुगाड़ crate bandage, you have put playing in a proper turf, तो boots पहनना पड़ेगा.
That is so. Well, I am very fond of jugaad, by the way, but there are cases where it does not work.
So, one thing on this. I have heard about it. I don't know how to put this information together with auditing part. The blockchain is a technology which promises that, or which has the feature that you can keep track of all the transaction, and perhaps that is why all the bitcoins are used. So how this blockchain technology figure into this database platform, or how does it help or not help? And how does it engage with the auditing thing?
So to answer this question, see, blockchain needs peers, correct?
Okay.
The basic principle of operation of blockchain is peers.
Yes.
There is a group of peers that will have a watch on you. You will be watched by your peers, right? But if there are no peers in many business, for example, if I'm a tire manufacturing company running an ERP, a finance module, Oracle e-business suite or whatever it is, finance module. Who is my peer within that finance? So there has to be some independent auditing mechanism that has to go. I mean, you really cannot use blockchain over here, correct? Right. So if I'm a bank, say suppose, or if I'm a microfinance company, or if I'm a standard business, a retail business. Offline retail business. So in these cases, your ERP is the place where the financial transactions would be stored and processed. And in all likelihood, those ERPs will only be visible inside your intranet. They will not have an exposure outside also. But at the same time, you will have to keep these audited for the MCA guideline purpose, for ensuring that the auditors get proper data, for ensuring compliance. Industry specific compliance. For example, if it is healthcare, then HIPAA. If it is finance, then SOX and things like that.
PCI DSS and
PCI DSS if it is a cards industry. So for this, you really need something which is plain, simple, and can happen independently.
If just one second last basic question is, if somebody wishes to understand or evaluate, evaluate or explore the benefits or features of the product of Audit Vault. I know Oracle works on trust-based licensing. Having said that, it is not something very easy that you can start using from day one. You have to have somebody who is skilled enough to deploy it and roll out. So if somebody wishes to test drive it for the sake of better vault, so how should one go about it? I mean, can they download and start using, or how is that? How easy, difficult, or is it possible or not possible?
Yeah, it is possible. So one thing we have to remember is that this particular product, this particular product is an image. If you see, right? It's not a software; it's an image. It's an embedded product.
Okay.
It's not that it's an application server with which you attach a database. It's not like that. It's an embedded product. The services and the storage, everything comes as a black box. Correct. So if you really want to install these and configure this, you need somebody who knows how to do that. That's one. Because it is not it is not the common products that we see, where we install the product under which an application server gets installed. It asks for some database, you put the database credentials. It does not happen this way. It's an image. Correct. That's one. Number two, the platform, and therefore there has to be some theoretical knowledge, some study, somebody, I mean, at least one, somebody who has gone through the manuals or videos or whatever. I mean, he can comprehend, he or she can comprehend. The second is where to do the practice or where to do the exploration. I mean, a good platform is cloud nowadays. I mean, if there is an Oracle cloud infrastructure with you, you can actually get the Audit Vault image
Yes.
at a certain price, and that is a very, very negligible price, right? That's available as an image, and that image can be installed and the experiments can be done. That's but this Audit Vault can also be installed on an on-premise infrastructure where you get the ISO image for download from OTN technology, otn.oracle.com. The developer-based technology network licenses. You will have to sign the license, OTN license agreement, right? And you can have it on-premise or AWS cloud or Azure cloud or whatever it is. So that's how it should be approached. I mean, if somebody wants to have a
evaluation,
try a hand.
So during implementation, I'm sure you must have seen that there is already some kind of or some quantum of audit data which is already there. Kuch to hai.
Right.
Correct.
Yes.
Then there is day zero where you deploy, configure, and integrate with respective data. So how do you go about it? Do you migrate the entire set of historical audit trail into it, or does it start from day one when it is deployed?
So right. So to answer this, Umesh, see what happens before the Audit Vault was deployed is not under the lookout of Audit Vault. Correct. We even do not know what audit trail was there if at all it was there. If at all it was there with a customer. Correct. However, the moment you put Audit Vault into place, correct, you have a plethora of possibilities that open, correct. One, you can have your agent-based auditing starting, correct. So there could be 2-3 ways, fundamentally 2 ways where upon which you can really do the designing. One is to simply ensure that whatever transaction is happening in your source system means the system which you intend to audit, correct? You simply ingest the transaction logs. Nothing. You have to do nothing. Simply ingest the transaction logs. That's it. That is possible using agent-based Audit Vault capture.
Okay.
There are ways to do that. Golden Gate will come into picture.
Yes.
Because it's a very interesting thing. If you are using Oracle Audit Vault 20 upwards, you are already privy or you are entitled to use a restricted license of Golden Gate solely for the purpose of auditing.
Okay.
So you can simply use one approach is to just ingest all the transaction log into the Audit Vault. And then once we have ingested every transaction log, then it is up to us, up to the auditor as to what he wants to see, because we have everything. That's one approach. The other approach is, instead of ingesting everything, we actually create policies on objects, what we want to audit and which objects we want to audit and what are the actions we want to audit. This is another approach. This is the agentless approach. We are saying that I only want to audit X, Y, Z and these actions. That's one. The other is, I do not know anything. Any transaction that happens, gobble it up. I will later see what to do with them. That is agent-based approach. So both these approaches are there. It depends on the customer, and then many consultative things come, many audit requirements come on which we really have to sit a few days with the customer to determine which approach is the best.
Or what information? Yeah, I mean there is lots of
yes,
discussions which is required when we go for agentless. So coming back to my final thing, there are a couple of young people also here. I can see them. So if somebody has to have, I am asking this from a perspective of a person who has just begun his career. You know? If somebody has to, get proficiency in tools like Audit Vault or IBM Guardian or Imperva and whatever, where should the journey begin? Should it begin at the understanding of database admin
Yes.
level?
Yes.
That is,
Definitely.
and then graduate, or like today, everybody says that business analytics kar lo without knowing statistics and probability.
Correct.
So Biruda, Tapaza, it was a really, really good discussion. I also myself learned a lot. I'm sure I'll be able to express it better. We have some of our customers also who are with us, though they are not our database customers, but they are on Fusion, and some of them use Oracle database. So I'm sure that will be an enlightening discussion for us. Having said that, I would request you, Tapaza, to give a concluding remark, and we can wrap this up.
Yeah. So, Homeshda, first of all, thank you for organizing these sessions, and we are really grateful to you that we are able to express our experiences, our thoughts about the database securities, how the organization they have to capture all their audited records, because nowadays it is very, very necessary to keep all the audited trails of all the records. And going forward, we will have some more sessions and on the detailed discussion on these kind of topics, not only in the Audit Vault, but from the security prospect also. In the coming sessions, we will try to organize these sessions, and we will try to communicate to our audience also regarding this.
Great, Tapaza, Biruda, thanks for the time. Achha, by the way, when I spoke Fusion, I realized, does Audit Vault work with Fusion as well?
Yes, definitely yes.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you very much for your time. It was indeed a good discussion.
Thank you.
I think we should come up again with the next level of maybe AVDF.
So Umesh bhai, database security is a very, very intriguing topic. It's a beautiful topic also.
Yes.
And it's a niche topic and a topic that has not got enough customer attention. So I think it's a good idea if you can organize a few. We are there with you always.
Yes,
one point I disagree. It is no more a niche area now.
Okay.
Not in terms of skill set. Skill set is there are not enough skill sets, but in terms of security. I think any organization today, any and every organization has to have good amount of understanding on security. Where, what to do, you can come. Thank you for the time. It was lovely discussion. I hope we made a difference. We'll come again next time. Thanks a lot. Have a lovely weekend.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.